Hello guys, and welcome back to another entry into our walkthrough. We're going to take off exactly where we left off last time, inside of the cleansing church. We had just opened a shortcut into the Cathedral of the Deep, and we are going to take off immediately. So after we go up this elevator, there's going to be two pathways. We can go straight out the doorway, or we could go down this flight of stairs. I would recommend going down the stairs first. Just be careful with the slime that's waiting for us up above. You don't want to let it surprise you. At the bottom of these stairs, we're going to find an evangelist, which is fairly easy to deal with. You guys should be used to this enemy by now. Except for the fact that it's in close quarters. So just be careful and don't panic. Maintain your spacing. You should be fine. And in this room, you're going to find a deep gem. And that's about it. We can head back upstairs. Now we're going to start heading out towards this area here. But be forewarned, that sleeping giant that we saw earlier, it's going to be waking up as soon as we step outside of this doorway. And we're going to have to make a run for it to that door that you see across the atrium there. That guy snuck up on me. We're going to make our way across this perimeter to get to the other doorway. And you can pick up the items along the way. Just try not to die, because this guy is going to be attacking us at the same time. If he hits you, it's not the end of the world. Just be aware that he can kind of stun lock you for a little bit, and be ready to dodge. Once you make it inside of this hallway here, you're home free. And we're not going to go all the way down the stairs yet. First, we're going to stop halfway down and go into this area here. In this area, we're going to take care of 3 enemies. And they're hiding out in the ceiling here. Here's one. Ouch. Here's another one right here. And he's gonna go over here to try to get us. And there's one more enemy. You will find them right over here. We'll leave them right there for now. Now we can grab this item that's sitting right here. Just be careful. Once again, there is an enemy hiding on the ceiling. It's very hard to see. Make sure you take care of him before picking up that item. And now we can head upstairs. In this upstairs portions, you're gonna find another evangelist. which is not going to be too hard. You guys should be used to this enemy now. Finally got that backstab. There we go. And there's going to be one more item up here. An ember. Alright, now that we've gotten all the items up here, we can descend back to the main hallway. We're going to go back to the main hallway, but before we do that, I want to let you guys know that once we go to this downstairs portion, there's going to be a Cathedral Knight coming out of that doorway in front of me. And we don't want to fight him yet because he may be a little too hard for you. And the checkpoint is not too far away. I would prefer that you grab the checkpoint before you proceed to fighting him. Now, in this area, right before we go down, you're going to find a chest. Be careful with this chest because it is not a regular chest. It is actually another mimic. So, just like we dealt with the previous mimic, I would recommend throwing an Undead Hunter Charm to make it fall asleep before you start attacking it. And if you got it more than half health, I don't think you need to use another Undead Hunter Charm. You could just go ahead and attack it. You'll be able to kill it right before it starts to attack. Alright, so we got the Deep Braille Divine Tome. And just a small warning on this Divine Tome. You don't want to turn it into Irina. Because if you do, it's possible to fail her quest line. Instead, later on there's going to be a different NPC that you could turn it into. And I recommend waiting for that NPC. Alright, so from here we're going to jump down. And we're going to exit promptly so that we don't have to fight the Cathedral Knight. Alright, from here, I have to give you another warning. Once we step into the area outside, we are going to trigger another NPC invasion. And remember, these NPC invasions do not happen unless you are in an embered state. So remember, if you want to fight this person here, you have to be embered. If you're not embered, you could skip this fight altogether. But we're going to go ahead and do it because he drops his sword and his armor. He doesn't drop it immediately, but we'll be able to find it later on lying next to Rosario. So that's why I like to be able to do this fight. Also, his armor has a similar effect to Elmer of the Briar's armor, which is in Elden Ring. Which means that every time that he rolls, he takes a small amount of our health with him. So just be aware that that happens. So it doesn't surprise you. Ah, he got us. He can be kind of tricky, especially because he can stagger you with his armor. But overall, I think he's a manageable fight. Alright, so you see he dropped his straight sword and his shield. Later on, we'll find his armor lying on his real body somewhere else. Alright, so we're not too far away from the checkpoint now. All we have to do is watch out for this guy at the top. avoid these guys walking down the hallway and go right into this hallway here. Down these stairs. Open the gate. So from here, you'll notice that there's two doorways. This doorway here leads to the upper portion to the cathedral, which we are not going to do quite yet. Instead, we're going to open this shortcut, and you're going to find out that it leads us back to where we started. From here, you can go ahead and rest to replenish all of your Estus flasks. And we're going to head back upstairs. We won't do this area quite yet, but we'll come back to it later in the video. Alright, so from here, we are going to kill those pesky giants that we've seen. The giants are actually not a hard fight. There's two methods that you could fight these giants. The first is to go up to that giant and slowly lure it back to this watered area here. And then after he is in this area, you could lift up this gate. And then you could fight him in the location where you're not slowed down by that mud area. But he's actually not too hard to face over there in the mud either. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to slot in the Brigand Twin Daggers or any other dagger that has the quick step ability. And I'm going to go all the way over to where he is using the ability. Now, I know I don't have the dexterity to actually use this weapon. Once I get to him, I'm going to switch back to my primary weapon. That quick step is pretty much like the Bloodhound step in Elden Ring, except it doesn't do that foggy effect. This giant doesn't really hurt you that much. Just stay underneath his feet, towards the back of his feet, and you'll avoid most of his attacks. You can lock into him, but I prefer not to. I think it's an easier fight if you don't lock into him. And with that, the giant is dead. Alright, so from here, we can go ahead and retrieve the items that are nearby. The Maiden Set. I think the giant dropped this item here. Yep, the giant dropped this item. And a large nameless soul. Okay. Afterwards, we can open up this area. There really isn't anything too great in this area. There is a weapon though. A faith weapon. Just in case you are building a faith build, this is a pretty decent weapon. You'll be able to see this beautiful view. There's our giant friend over there at the tower. And if you notice, right above where my torch is where we fought Vort of the Boreal Valley. That's actually where those devilish creatures, picked us up and flew us all the way over here. And once we got to this portion, we were in the undead settlement. You could see a few of the undead settlement buildings there. That's the tower where our friendly giant's at. And down below is Farron Keep. We're gonna get to there later, so just keep in mind, it's a pretty cool view and understanding of where all the positioning of the buildings and the map is. Alright, we're gonna continue forward from here. There's no real necessity to fight any of these guys here. Just make sure they're not looking directly at you when you pick up the items. We can now fight the other giant, which is slumbering over here. And similarly, if you don't want to fight him in that mud, you could lure this giant over here. And once he is inside of this location, you could trap him by pulling this lever. And then you can fight him in an area where you're not slowed down by the mud. But I honestly don't think the giants are that much of a big deal. They're pretty easy to deal with. This one, however, is surrounded by a lot of slimes that are in the mud. So I would try to take out a few slimes and kind of lure the giant towards you. There you go. We could kind of start luring the giant here. If you get too far away from the giant, he starts slinging mud at you from afar, so you don't want to get too far away from him. You want to stay close enough to where he will still follow you. Here we go. Now we're in a safer location. And just like before, we are going to stay behind his feet. Be careful with these enemies that start approaching us. Ouch. And as you could see, the giant really doesn't do that much damage to us anyway, so taking a few hits from him at this point is not a big deal. And that's it. Easy as that. Now let's take care of these slimes. Watch out over here. As soon as you get near the stairs, there's gonna be this grub man that falls from the ceiling. He's kind of goofy looking. Let's take care of him right now, actually. Make sure you pick up all these items. You're gonna find the Drang set here, which is a pretty cool looking light set. It reminds me of Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. But that armor set is a little too light for my liking. It doesn't mean it's a bad set, it's just I prefer this knight set. There's another one of those paired weapons called the Drang hammers. And we made it over here. So, from this location, we're pretty close to the final boss. But we still have a few things to do. Now, you don't have to fight any of these enemies here, and I recommend that you don't. It's really a kind of a waste of time for me. But if you need the souls and you're up for a challenge, go ahead and start fighting them. We are going to pick up this ember. Go on to this location here. And we can open this lift. From here, we can open the main entrance to Cathedral of the Deep. There we go. And you'll notice where we are now. We are back where we started. Once this entrance is opened, we want to head down here, and we are going to find a familiar face. Now, pay close attention to what happens to this NPC. We're going to go ahead and talk to him. Let's pick up this item first, and then we'll talk to him.
Well, you look reasonably sane. I am a knight of Katarina. I've managed to track down this cathedral's store of treasure. It's right over there, across that narrow part. Treasure? Always so close, yet so far. I'm in quite a pickle, indeed. Well, just hold your horses a moment. I know. Treasure is so sorely tempting. I know.
And you could see that he's kind of luring us to this location here, saying that there's a treasure on the other side. So, just to go along with him, we're going to go ahead and check it out.
Shame on you, you greedy guts. Thought you could outwit an onion. Well, say hello to the nice giant. He adores visitors. Where's the old giant? What? Where's the bloody giant? Just what have you done? How dare you? Have you no shame? Damn.
So, as you have noticed, it is a familiar face from Elden Ring, Patches. And he is just as mischievous as he is in Elden Ring. If you didn't know, Patches is actually present in all of the Dark Souls games. He's pretty much a staple at this point. But he is definitely one of my favorite NPCs in this one. If you have not defeated the giant at this point, when you get lowered down in this area, the giant will be waiting for you to fight him right here. But since we've already taken care of him, he has an additional dialogue asking where the giant is. Alright, so from this point, we could head back to the bonfire where we started. But I'm going to actually go take care of this Cathedral Knight that we left behind here. The Cathedral Knights are actually not too hard. You just gotta find a way to get behind him and get that backstab. He makes an easy target when he starts to buff his weapon, and also when he slams the floor with his hammer. When he slams the floor with his hammer, he'll leave like these little landmines. They don't explode when you step on them, but they have a delayed explosion. So just keep that in mind. There's the little landmines there. There's my backstab. Alright. So, this is actually pretty risky. There's an enemy inside of this hallway here, which can be kind of hard. Whenever he bites you, you start building up this thing called curse. And if that curse meter builds up all the way, it's an instant death. So just be aware of this enemy. I would recommend not locking into this enemy and working your way around his legs. If you're able to get beside the enemy, he's not too hard. There he is up there. So just stay away from his face. And don't let that curse build up all the way. He doesn't have that much health, but he can definitely bite you and cause you to die. He drops the Aldrich Sapphire, which is actually a really good ring for builds that need to recover FP. And what it does is recovers FP from critical attacks. So any critical attack will regain you FP. In addition, we'll find an ember here. And we'll homeward bone back to the bonfire. Alright, and once we come back to the bonfire, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our way over back to Patches. He closed up a path that was available to us earlier. So we are going to open that path up again. And we're gonna do that by going up this elevator that we did not go into previously. And you'll notice that this is actually where we started. This is where that archer was attacking us at the beginning. We are going to go around the corner here to this flight of stairs and take this ladder all the way up to where we find this deacon. And I believe he drops a ring. There it is, the Ring of the Deep. And now we are going to roll off of here onto this archway. Remember that there is a few of these little guys hanging off the ledges, so just be aware of them. And there's going to be one of these axe dudes over here waiting for us. Get behind him, it makes for an easy kill. Just be careful because he's going to try to pressure you and you can fall off. Alright. So from this area, Be careful, there's some of these little guys still hanging out on the ledges. And the guys that are all the way down there can still shoot you with their arrows. We're gonna dispatch this guy here too. Alright, easy win. And we're gonna go all the way down this hallway. Now you'll notice that there's these entry points inside of the cathedral. We are gonna go in there, but not yet. So before we go down there, we're gonna go all the way down this hallway. Just be careful because there's still those little guys hanging out in the ledges. Make sure they don't surprise you and get behind you. We'll pick up Pale Tongue. Take care of these little guys. Now here we're going to want the to slot in a ranged weapon, so make sure you have a ranged weapon that you can use. Alright. Before we face any of the Cathedral Knights in this upper portion, we are gonna make sure that we take care of these little guys. You'll see that their AI is not that great. They will fall off. Alright, so it could be really dangerous fighting these 3 Cathedral Knights that are up here. So the first thing that you want to do is clear all of the pathways. Make sure there's no more of these little guys lying around. And what I like to do is I like to cheese them so I don't have to fight them all by slotting in a ranged weapon and making them come get me. Now usually when they start chasing me down the pathways, they tend to turn the corners and fall off. That's usually an easy kill. It may take a little while sometimes, but like I said, we're going to kind of cheese them just to show you the easiest way to take care of them. And don't worry, I'll fast forward most of this. There goes the first one. I know it takes a little while, but this is the safest way if you want to avoid the fight. We'll go ahead and take out the other guys as well. There you go. You saw he just fell off once he got to that corner. And that's it. Now you can alternatively lure them into this area here, one by one, and do combat with them if you want to take them out a little faster. But this is a much safer way if you want to prevent that battle. So, once we have unlocked that, what we're going to do is we are going to step onto that platform that you see down below. like right where my torch is at. We're gonna step on that platform. And we can do that by stepping off from here. We'll just roll onto that platform. There we go. And from here, we can roll onto the next platform here. And we'll enter this little shortcut. Go ahead and take care of this grub man. Alright, and we'll find Patches.
Huh? Yes, hello. Oh, I don't believe we've met. I'm Patches. Unbreakable Patches. You seem to be unkindled. Do you have business with me? Ah, oh, yes, of course. It's coming back to me now. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my hand, as you know. But the deed, well, that was the armor's doing. Regrettable, truly. But behold, I'm stripped clean of that unruly attire. And look at you. Not a scratch. All's well that ends well, right? Yes, we'll be fine. I can tell. It's that rotten curse. It is. The untidy mess.
He'll give us a gesture.
Oh, yes. Now, it wasn't me, but you still deserve an apology. Just a little trinket. Go ahead. It's yours now.
And a rusted coin. In addition, he becomes a merchant.
You should know, I'm a kind of traveling merchant. If you're as unkindled as you look, you'll find plenty of good stuff.
And you'll notice here that he has Seedward's armor, which we will be using to unlock Seedward's questline. But do not buy this armor yet. Even if you think it looks cool, don't buy it yet, otherwise you're going to ruin the questline. So just be aware that it's here and it's available for purchase, but don't buy the armor yet. Anything else here you can go ahead and buy if you really want it.
Can't find anything you like? Well, you could try looking a little harder.
So, after we leave this area, Patches is going to end up being inside of Firelink Shrine, and we will find him there in a future video. But for now, we are going to continue up these stairs. Watch out with the grubmen that are actually hanging out in the ceiling area, if you could see. They're all gonna fall down here, as well as two supporting magician grubmen. They're pretty weak to fire, so you don't have to be too scared of them. And we'll find out exactly what these grubmen are in just a second. Kill this guy too. And we'll open this doorway here. Where we will find a very creepy looking nursery. We're gonna go ahead and stoke this bonfire. And after we stoke it, we could go ahead over here and grab the Thorn Armor set, which will only be here if you defeated that invading NPC. Now, we're gonna head off over here to Rosario. And this is actually the altar to Rosario, the Covenant of Rosario's Fingers. You can ask to join the Covenant, but do not offer any pale tongues to Rosario. I repeat, do not offer any pale tongues to Rosario. Now, Rosario here has a special ability that allows you to relocate attributes. So this is the Covenant that is going to allow you to respec, and you are welcome to respec. It costs exactly 1 pale tongue per respec, or to alter your appearance, which also costs a pale tongue. And you will only be able to do that 5 times per playthrough. And if you try to respec more than 5 times, you'll get this message that says, further rebirth is not possible during this lifetime. Persisting will transform you into a grub. I find it pretty interesting that it tells you you'll be transformed to a grub, because it gives you a little insight to what those creatures are doing outside these quarters. Essentially, this NPC acts exactly like Renala does in Elden Ring. So, with that in mind, respec sparingly if you need to, but we're gonna head back to Firelink Shrine to do our final level up before facing the area boss, the Deacons of the Deep. For this upcoming battle, I recommend a greatsword or any other weapon with wide sweeping attacks that can hit multiple enemies. This fight will feature a crowd of enemies that can easily be dispatched with greatswords, scythes, halberds, etc. In addition, if you have the correct stats to wield this Hollow Slayer greatsword, you can purchase it from Ludlith. This sword does extra damage to hollows, including the deacons, and will have decent damage even if you don't level it up. I unfortunately don't have the stats, so I will be using the Executioner's greatsword. Other than that, just make sure to spend all your souls just in case you die. Now we can go ahead and start the fight. Starting from Rosario's bedchamber, we are gonna head straight out the door. You don't have to fight any of these enemies, you just have to avoid them. After avoiding them, we're gonna cross this bridge here. We're gonna go up these stairs. And we're gonna go down the elevator that we unlocked earlier. When we get to the bottom of the elevator, we're also not gonna fight any of the enemies there. We're just gonna run straight to the boss room. Now, like I said before, this boss is actually a lot of enemies. And the way that you defeat them, there's gonna be like this red glowing essence. And you want to only damage the NPC or the character that has that glowing essence on them. If you damage anybody else, it will not do enough damage. So you saw that glowing essence, you only want to attack the character that has that essence. After you defeat that character, that essence will go inside of somebody else, and you just kill that enemy. After you have done this enough times, there will be another enemy that starts to spawn in, which is the head deacon. The head deacon will spawn in after we've killed it enough times, in which you will then have to damage that enemy. Now, you have to be aware of your crowd control here. So if you could go ahead and roll into these enemies and they'll also kind of get knocked down. Where is... Oh, he's actually hiding over here. Sneaky, sneaky. Here we go. This is the Archdeacon. He is vulnerable to backstabs. Just be aware that the other characters that spawned in with him, they can start this attack like they're doing now, where they summon a lot of flying orbs. If they start doing the chant, you have to kill at least one of the purple deacons to stop them from ending the battle abruptly. And that's all there is to it. This battle is actually not too hard. It's one of the easier battles. Just be aware that you're going to be facing a lot of characters at the same time. Alright? So after we light the bonfire, we want to go ahead and rest here. As soon as you rest, you're going to notice that we will find the robes of the deacons here, along with the archdeacon dead. Go ahead and pick all the items that he left, and he leaves us actually pretty cool looking gear. I like the cape that this has. It has a really cool cape. The shirt is not anything special, but it has a pretty cool cape that gets dragged around. And that's about it for this video. I think we've covered pretty much everything we needed to cover for today. We've explored all of the Cathedral of the Deep, so we'll end here. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll catch you later.